Hey Wanderers! Welcome back to another Foolish Wanderers podcast, the podcast about anything and everything. Today, we're going to be talking about the Olympics. Did you hear that?
No, what was it?
Ray sat on my keyboard, and then she must have got like a weird feeling in her foot. She starts tapping like Thumper the Rabbit, like on the keyboard.
Oh, she was dancing?
She was dancing on my keyboard.
All right, dancing cat, you've got some talent.
Oh, goodness, child.
Send her off to the Olympics. Have her medal in... I think they're doing like interpretive dance or breakdancing.
Breakdancing, I saw.
Yeah,
which
so she could send Ray the cat to represent the U.S.
I think she would win gold.
I think she would too, because she would just be up against a bunch of TikTok dancers, and I think she would crush them.
Yeah. For just her cuteness alone. She is 4 now. It's like 18 in human years.
Yeah,
so
she's old enough. She can go.
She can go to the Olympics.
She can go to the Olympics.
Get your little suits.
Now I have a reason to watch.
Aww. You hear that, Ray? You have a fan. Yay. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Olympic villages and how much they cost to actually make and what happens to them after the Olympics are done.
Woo.
Yeah. Woo.
Wait, I did not do any of the villages. I did kind of like a broad overview of how France is preparing for the Olympics. Like,
oh, okay, sure.
Like prepping, yeah.
So how much, did you find this in your research? How much do they actually spend, like, allotted? How much do they get allotted money for, like, building everything? Like,
so, I don't have it written, like, I don't have, like, how, like, their allotments written down and everything. Okay. But it seems like a lot of it, from what I remember reading, was partially through private funding and whatnot.
Okay.
And I think the rest of it comes from the country, the government itself. I don't really know, but I think that's what happens.
Okay, so it's not like an Olympic organization that gives them money to build this stuff?
I have no idea how much the IOC gives you.
Okay.
Because I was reading that Toronto had, so even in their bids, like the Olympic bids, Toronto couldn't afford. They spent like $60 million to prepare the bid, just to be in the conversation, to be voted, to be chosen, and they couldn't afford that. They were like, "This is too much."
That's a lot of money.
And yeah, it's a lot of. Basically, at the end of the day, these countries are spending an exorbitant amount of money that none of them really ever see back, because the whole pitch to try to host this thing is, oh, through tourism, it's like an economic boost.
Like, yeah, for like a month, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's basically, because they're all trying, like the Olympics, like all these countries are trying to get like a Taylor Swift month-long Eras tour, like economic boost. Because if you've like looked up her, like the Eras tour,
oh goodness,
how much like of an economic boost she brings to the city that she's performing in with that's basically what the countries are trying to, like, that's like the main goal for hosting the Olympics, but it never comes true.
Yeah, well, it's so expensive to even go too, especially if you live, like, go to the US to France, that's expensive, and to stay there, and like, yeah, even to get tickets. I guess I've never.
How do you even get tickets? I have no idea how this works. But
I don't know.
I just know that France is spending a lot of money on security for this Olympics, more than anybody else has like spent.
I mean,
so
this day and age, you kind of need it, unfortunately. But
oh yeah. So this is just get into like just touch on some things, right? So France hasn't hosted. It's actually kind of cool. They haven't hosted the Olympics for 100 years. So in 1924 was the last time that Paris had the Olympics.
That's cool though. It's exactly 100 years.
I know, it's pretty
That's cool.
fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one of the main things that's kind of neat for this year's Olympics is that the Paris Games will be less wasteful and more environmentally friendly than previous events. So
Which I feel like
that's part of their pitch, which is nice, but
mhm.
also it's like also when I'm saying like less wasteful and more environmentally friendly, that also means supposedly less money is going to be spent, right?
Okay. Maybe.
Maybe,
So like
but
some of the
we'll
things
see.
too is like I feel like every country the last like few Olympics that we've been alive to see have said that. You know, like Rio, I thought they said like, oh, we're gonna be more.
Oh,
E-
Rio
eh,
was a trash fire of epic proportions.
that one was. I'm sorry, it was bad. But like I thought, like I feel like every country that hosts the Olympics makes that claim, and it just kind of like they try, but there's only so much you can do because you have thousands of people
Hmm.
staying there, and like you're trying to like reduce waste on like bedding and food and like toiletries and all this stuff, and it's like there's only so much that you can actually do, especially if you're staying there for like a couple weeks and then
Hmm.
going home. So like you can't like get all this eco, like I don't know, there's only so much you can do. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah.
No, you're totally right. And this is just we won't know, what shakes out until the end, right? Till it's all
Hmm.
said and done. Like Rio, right? This
Oh
could be a
god.
trash fire like Rio.
Yeah, I've seen like some TikToks on or yeah, on TikTok, um, of people of like different people from different countries. They've gotten to their like their apartments in Paris, and the beds again this year are cardboard. Which
Yes, they're cardboard.
yep, which like the frames, yeah, that's fine. Whatever, it's you can recycle them, whatever. But the mattresses themselves, I have to look up what material they're made out of. But like, I've seen athletes already complaining that their backs are messed up because
Oh
there's
my
supposed to be like
gosh.
two different sides, like a firm and a moderate.
Hmm.
But it's so like dense. It's not good to sleep on, and like they have a tiny little micro like a tiny foam padding in between, but it's not enough. It's not like something you're gonna get a good night's sleep on, which is something that they need when they're gonna be competing against all these other athletes. So it's just there's certain steps of like, okay, eco-friendly, yes, but comfortable and worthwhile, that's another thing.
No. Can
you
you can you imagine like being an athlete like that's not that well known, right? You're
Mhm.
not Simone Biles. You're not like Shakari. Was it Williams? Is that?
Shikari.
Yeah, yeah. You're not that, or like Noah Lyles, right?
Mhm.
Lesser known. You're there for I don't know the long jump or something, high jump,
Yeah.
javelin throw, something that no one really
It's
not
not
that
as well like
it's not as well known or
watched. Yeah.
yeah, well marketed. And you
Mhm.
have to stay in the Olympic Village. You're not in a hotel or whatever like the other
Mhm.
athletes, and you wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, my back's all seized up. How the heck am I supposed to throw this javelin?
Yeah. I did look up to the how you get tickets for the Olympics. It's basically you can buy them online. Anybody in the world can buy them. It's just online, first come, first serve. I don't know the
Okay.
price, but that's
All right.
how they do the tickets.
All
So
right.
I'd think probably like their families would probably get first pick, but
You would
maybe I'm
think.
wrong. I would think so, but I have no idea.
We will see. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to go. Would you?
Um, I would like to see like swimming would be fun or gymnastics. I would like to see those. Like rhythmic gymnastics is super fun. Um, there's a few things that I would go see, but depending on the price. And
Would
like
you?
if I had like another vacation, kind of like in Europe, I would like to go like kind of mix that in there. You're like, oh, I'm already in Europe for
Hmm.
like a week or whatever, and go to the Olympics or whatever, and that'd be a cool experience. But personally, right now in my financial situation, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars just to go for like one or two Olympic events, and then I don't know. It'd be cool, but I don't have the funding right now to just drop everything and go do it. But I mean, if somebody bought me a ticket, I would go. That'd be
Hmm.
fun. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like these ones, the Paris ones are. If I guess I had to go to an Olympics, I
Hmm.
would pick the Paris ones this year because they're pretty neat because most of the buildings that they
Hmm.
are temporary structures instead
Oh,
of
okay.
they're not built like Rio, for
Hmm.
example, or Beijing or London. They're not building stadiums specifically for events.
that are meant to like stay and built out of like
Correct.
expensive materials.
Like Rio.
Yes.
Rio would be like example A
Yeah.
for most of but yeah, so Paris instead, they're doing temporary structures around like the city's famous landmarks. So for
Okay.
example, they're building the beach volleyball court is going to be right underneath the Eiffel Tower.
I saw that.
The equestrian, so the horse jumpers, the horse people,
Yeah.
it's going to be at Versailles, like the grounds of Versailles.
That'd be super cool. I'd go see
Yeah.
that.
So there was also like fencing and like taekwondo. I cannot pronounce this building's name because it's French and that is very difficult to pronounce for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in this very neat glass sort of dome, iron and glass structure building. Like the ceiling is glass. It's really beautiful.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that's another thing that Paris is doing very differently, is that instead of, they're doing temporary structures. So actually 95% of the sites for the Olympics are either existing structures or temporary ones. So they're really, really like, we don't want to, I think it's a neat, yeah, we don't want to build a bunch of things that are just going to end up abandoned because they always kind of end up abandoned.
Most do, yeah, unfortunately. Which I think is really cool, especially if you have such an historic city that you're doing this in, to include these historic sites. That's super cool.
Right. But
that would make it more special too, just to be there and be like, oh, cool, I can go see, like you said, Versailles, and then I can go to the Eiffel Tower. And just kind of, that's cool.
Definitely more special. But one of the issues I read I don't know how true this is. I just read an article. I can't remember what the article was from. Sometimes, whatever. But since these structures are around famous, like the stadiums, these temporary stadiums are around famous structures. Like the Eiffel Tower was one of the examples. Is that the Eiffel Tower is kind of different. It's kind of gated off. Sections are gated off, and you need some sort of like specialized like QR code scanner thing to enter certain areas. Like it's not as tourist friendly as it was, right?
Sure.
And it usually is. So some of the tourists right now are kind of upset, and that was kind of what the article was about. Was like some of the tourists right now, you spend, you save money. I mean, it does, it is what it is, right? But for like a good example, be like, you save money for how many years, and I mean, horrible planning on your part, but you save money to go to Paris, and then the Eiffel Tower really isn't. You can't really access it as well as you could, or Versailles, or whatever, right? But yeah, horrible planning on your part.
I mean, it makes sense, but like at the same time, unless you didn't know somehow that the Olympics was going to be in Paris, like I don't know. I guess when like you're planning your trip, you'd be like, oh, this is happening the same time as the Olympics. You might want to plan, be like, hey, this might be a little bit different, because I've seen people too talk about how people that live in Paris are already upset,
pissed off.
Which, I mean, your whole way of life is completely disrupted, and it has been for like who knows how long.
How many years they've been planning? They've been planning this for like years.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand. I mean, it's cool that it's happening there. Like, this is the way that they're doing it, but I also understand like the point of like, this is where I live, where I grew up, where I work, and now it's like all being messed with, and that's frustrating. And
it's frustrating. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's the Olympics.
Yeah, and then it'll be over, and then it'll go back to normal. Hopefully.
Right? Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. But okay, so more about the cost, right? So the cost of this year's games, it's estimated at nearly 9 billion euros.
Okay.
And that is less than any of the previous 4 games in Tokyo, Rio, London, and Beijing. But this is before everything's said and done.
Okay.
Right. Like, we won't know what the actual cost will end up being until, it's over.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So also the Tokyo Olympics were delayed a year, right? And they were held in 2021 during COVID. And it cost 12 billion euros, according to Japan's national auditors. That was almost twice as much as the estimate of their original bid.
Is it just because it was delayed a year, or just because?
I bet it's a little bit of everything, right? A
Yeah,
little bit that
probably.
it was delayed. Also a little bit, that they, nothing is perfect
We
with
didn't
with these
budget
estimates.
correctly.
We didn't, but yeah, they didn't budget
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
hmm So for Rio in 2016, which was a trash fire,
See, I kinda forgot about
trash
that.
fire, just
But, like, I
complete
remember it now.
corruption, trash fire.
Yeah.
Like Rio, and some people are like, God, like you two are just like this is you two are out of line. This is out of you're exaggerating. No, like look up the Rio Games, their Wikipedia page. There's like there's corruption and controversy. Like there is a chapters on this stuff.
Mhm.
Like they have their own little book, like little section just for the
The digital article.
controversies. Yeah, no, it was bad. But anyway, so the total cost of that was 11.8 billion euros. So that was more than half. So more than half of that was just on infrastructure,
Yeah.
which
If you're
at the end
making
of the
new
day,
stadiums and things, yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna cost a lot.
Yep. And then estimates for London in 2012 range between 12 and 15 billion euros. And for Beijing in 2008, calculations from outside experts run as high as 40 billion euros, and that's at current exchange rates.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But
a
I mean, the China
unfathomable
ones, the
amount of money.
Beijing ones were cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, $40 billion they spent.
That's, like, how how do you have that much money in the first place? Like, that's just
I don't know.
unfathomable to me, but,
I don't know.
you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
40 billion. Okay, do you remember the Cube? Like for the
Cube.
Beijing games, there was this building called the Cube, and it was this very cool blue-looking LED box kind of built a cube building, and it
Okay.
was for swimming.
Yeah, yep,
Okay, it was abandoned immediately after. They didn't
yep.
know what to do with it, and they still don't really know what to do with it. And now it seems like it's this weird, like children's playground.
Interesting, okay.
Isn't that sad? $40 billion, and this is what's like happening to all your stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. And that's why I think it's really smart to, take existing buildings and, like, kinda modify it slightly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, a lot of these things, and we'll talk about it later, I'll give some examples of, like, structures and stuff, but a lot of these structures, unless you use them to, like, practice on or, like, for, like, just normal everyday competitions, what else do you do with them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the villages, you can sometimes turn it into, like, apartments or stuff, but,
Right.
like, even that sometimes fails, so it's just
Oh, fun.
yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one more. So
Okay.
Athens, I don't know. You may remember this, you may not. I only remember the opening ceremonies for
I don't
Athens.
think I remember
It was in
any of it.
2004.
Yeah,
I
I was
remember
7.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember bits, maybe like the opening, like, had a lot of mythology, like Greek mythology in it. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so you know how a few years ago, the country of Greece was like bankrupt
Mhm.
and in debt?
Mhm.
Well, them hosting the Olympics surely did not help them at all,
No.
and added 13 billion euros to their debt.
Nice.
So it basically kind of, yeah.
Like, hoping for more tourism, and then
Yes.
it didn't really work,
Yeah, and then all
unfortunately.
of a sudden their country was like, we're bankrupt. We have to declare bankruptcy. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Anyways, so instead of so this is back to France. So instead
Okay.
of a traditional opening ceremony and a stadium, right,
Mhm.
building a new stadium, which all the other countries have done prior to this, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
France has planned on a river parade.
I heard that.
Along
Yeah.
that's 6 kilometers, or that's 4 miles on the river Seine. Is it Seine or Seine?
Sen.
It's Seine. Okay.
Mhm.
And then they're gonna start the 4 miles down the Seine, and then they're ending at the foot of the Eiffel Tower.
That's cool.
So they think that like this could have up to 300,000 spectators watching it,
Mhm.
which is crazy because
Yeah.
these stadiums before that they build only hold like 40,000 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
this would be a lot
Mhm.
more.
Yeah. So, are they just doing, like, paddle boats, or are they doing, like, actual engine boats?
It's like their actual engine boats, I think. Like the famous, like the famous
Oh,
ones from Ratatouille.
okay. I just,
Well,
like that makes me nervous because they're supposed to swim in that.
oh, that's our next
S
little
Okay.
that's our next little
Okay, good.
talking point.
Good, good.
Yep, yep. Thank you, Katrina, because it's a
Good segue.
good
Yay.
segue. And this is the other. So the Sen is their main issue
Mhm.
for the Olympics
Has been for a
because
while.
for a while, and it's sad that this Olympics is going to cause them to really like ramp up cleaning it and the infrastructure around it. But I mean, it's going to, you know,
It
at
should have
least they're
been
doing
clean.
something. It should have been clean, but at least they're doing something now, right?
Mhm.
So this is from NPR. So a lot of the funding is going into cleaning up the Seine River, and this is the whole main question that we will not know the answer to until 48 hours before the triathlon for the for the Olympics. Will
Mhm.
the Seine River be clean enough for athletes to swim in? We will not know 48 hours prior to the
Okay.
event.
Okay.
So the triathlon and marathon swimmers are scheduled to take place in the Seine. And also, little side note, it has been illegal to swim in the Seine for more than a century.
Yep.
Yep. So, despite the city's effort to clean up the long polluted river, the water has tested unsafe for humans in recent weeks, months, years, and cleaner on some other days. And just a reminder, the games are running from July 26th to August 11th.
Mhm.
But just recently, the mayor of Paris actually did swim in the river. So she was in there. Don't know how clean it was, right? But
Would you like me to talk about their little protests that they had? Just like a quick little segue.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Go.
Okay, sweet. So this is a thing. I think it started back in June. I started seeing it all over TikTok. Basically, people were still upset about, like in Paris, about like how much money was being put into the Seine, cleaning it up. This is a river that people dump trash and like dead bodies and like all this stuff, like human waste, everything into for centuries, right? This is their main river out of the city. So this river is insanely polluted. Not to mention like boats going up and down it, whatever. So as a protest, because there's been so much money in it, and then like it's still not clean, like there's I think it's E. coli, super
It's
high levels of E.
it's
coli.
really unsafe levels of E. coli. And
Yeah,
there was another one too, but I don't remember I can't pronounce it.
I have to look that one up. But they like keep doing testing. It's not safe, not safe, and so people in Paris decided, So the mayor of Paris, and I think it was there's one other person that was supposed to swim in it,
Macron
and
was supposed to swim in it, I think.
okay, he didn't though.
Maybe, I don't think so. Or
Okay,
maybe, I don't know. Or
okay,
maybe an Olympic chairperson was supposed to, but I just remember, I just saw
for
the
sure the mayor.
photos the mayor did for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Very recently.
yes, she just did. So their protest to that was people were gonna poop in the Seine, like upriver of where the mayor was supposed to swim before she got in, like days before. So it'd like slowly make its way down there for when she was supposed to jump in the river. So they actually postponed their little swimming thing because like
The
still
poop?
no, because of like things were still unsafe. Like the levels of E. coli was still way too high.
Mm-hmm.
And she did actually go in it. Um, but yeah, I forgot. It was like June something, I think was like the date they were supposed to. And I don't think it actually happened. I
They
don't think this
didn't poop?
protest, I don't think, maybe like a few people did, but it wasn't like this
Still,
huge
that's
thing.
disgusting.
It's very nasty, but
Dude.
it was like a huge thing around like Paris. People were like on like X or Twitter, whatever, just talking. They're like, there's hundreds of people that were going to do this. And I don't think many people did, if at any.
Jeez. Can you like I just think it's such like a conflicting like visual image to what like the city of Paris is like what the city of lights and like love and romance and everything. And you're just had a nice meal with your loved one or significant other, and you're walking. You're like, let's just walk up like by the Seine and we'll just hold hands. And you're walking out, and this person's like squatted on the side of just
Yeah.
pooping in the river.
Yep. 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 Okay, so I found.
Disgusting.
So here's an article from the Indian Express. So there's a little part in their article that says, "What was the protesters' plan?" Basically, according to a local news website, Actu Paris, they basically the Paris website or the French website featured a calculator to let users calculate at what time and which place they needed to poop in the river for the sewage to reach the point of the politicians' scheduled dip in the river on June 23rd. At the beginning, quote, "The objective was to make a joke by bouncing off this ironic hashtag. In the end, are people really going to poop in the Seine or set up actions? Nothing is excluded." So like at that time, like when this article was written, they didn't know if this was actually going to happen or not. But yeah, the mayor did actually swim in the Seine to supposedly say that it's clean.
Yeah, but we don't know if she was in the hospital afterwards.
Yeah,
Or
I don't know. And that's
we
the
don't
thing is,
know.
I would be honestly pretty mad if I was supposed to be swimming in this river that
Oh
for
my
a
god.
century has been
Yeah.
deemed unsafe. I would be pretty upset.
Yeah, we will get into this a little bit more. So
Okay.
to clean up because this is basically like the main chunk of this episode
The Seine.
is
That's it.
because the whole Olympics is like the whole Paris Olympics revolves around the Seine
Yeah. Yep.
and what's happening in there, and then it's just littered with poop.
Yeah.
So
Supposedly.
So, to clean up this river, Paris has invested 1.4 billion euros or $1.5 billion US dollars in
Mhm.
building infrastructure to catch more storm water when it rains. Yeah.
To like flush out all the trash.
Yep. So so the same water that contains bacteria-laden wastewater that enters the river during periods of heavy rain and makes it unsafe to swim in.
Okay.
So the main issue with the Seine in Paris is that Paris is an ancient city, right?
Mhm.
And in the 1800s, when this system was 1700s 1800s, when the system, like the sewer system, was created, they created it as a combined sewer system. So this is like really popular in older cities all around the world. So
Okay.
combined sewer system means that the city's wastewater and storm water flow through the exact same pipes.
Okay.
So with heavy or prolonged periods of rain, which you know and everybody else on this planet knows is happening this summer, right?
Oh yes.
It's a moist, nasty summer.
So much rain.
So much
So
rain.
flooding.
So much rain and flooding. So with the heavy rains and flooding, the pipe's capacity is reached, and then that means raw wastewater poo flows into the river, and instead of going into the treatment plant. So there is no way for it to go anywhere. It just goes into the river then, right? And that's like
Yeah.
the main issue, is that it's the Seine's infrastructure is a combined sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing, even if, which they are and have been doing, they fix that problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen Ratatouille, right?
Oh no.
So do you know the barges? And like, in the movie, like the barges and the boats that are going up and down the river, right? And
Yep.
some of them are restaurants and some of them are houseboats. People live on them.
Mhm.
So they are allowed to just flat out dump their sewage, their tanks, their waste holding tanks, flat out dump them into the river.
Oh.
They don't have to like hook it up to anything. They're allowed to just flat out empty out the tank into the river. So yeah, no, this river's nasty. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Can you imagine the smell?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I can't. Okay, so in May, Paris officials they created this. It's pretty cool. They built this giant underground water storage basin
Mhm.
next to the train station, the Austerlitz train station. So it's called the Austerlitz storage basin.
Okay.
Austerlitz is just really fun to say.
Sounds
And
German.
I bet it is. But it collects excess rainwater, and it's supposed to stop wastewater from entering the Seine. And this basin can hold the equivalent of 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools of dirty, nasty water, and then that will be treated in a water treatment facility. So that they're like that's it. So this is like a major infrastructure improvement for the
Mhm.
city. So that's nice that they'll have that.
Mhm.
But they keep testing like the E. coli levels, and some days when it's really sunny out, because the sun, UV rays kills bacteria, some days it is okay-ish, the river, the safety levels, and other days it is not.
Mhm.
So according to Olympic protocols, as long as they have to test 48 hours before the swimming event.
Mhm.
And as long as the levels are safe, within 48 hours of the event, it will go on. But if it is not safe, they will move it to, I can't remember where they're moving it, but they're gonna move it somewhere else.
Okay, so they do
They
have a
can't have it.
backup plan.
They do have a backup plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not ideal.
It is not ideal at all. So if they're so even so if it so everybody watch out for the weather over there, because if it heavy rain, the E. coli, the poop levels will boom go way up. So the limit, what have I got? Here's a little thing from an NPR article. So a few spells of heavy rain could push E. coli levels beyond the limit of 900 colony forming units per
Oh,
100 millimeters. So that's the standard.
okay.
900 colony forming units per 100 millimeters. So that is what the World Triathlon Federation has determined safe for competitors.
I still would not want to swim in it.
I wouldn't either. It's just poop water.
Well, yeah, it's like I know they've tried to clean it, but I'm just praying for like 7 super sunny days before
Just
the race.
sunny days, yeah.
Just like bear down sun, kill all the bacteria.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh man.
I don't know what's gonna happen, Katrina. It's gonna be really interesting.
I might watch those races just to see what happens.
Yep, I think everyone will too.
So now we're going to move on to some past Olympic stadiums and things that have fallen into disrepair. Like what happens after the Olympics leave? Some things, I'll start with one that actually is really cool. It's a really cool reuse of a structure. And it's the, okay, I'm going to try to pronounce this.
Where is it?
Okay, it's in Athens, Greece.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this one's really cool, and it's still, you can go visit it. It's the Panathaic, Panathenaic
What?
Panathenaic Stadium. I think it's basically like their big track stadium.
Oh.
So it says it just so happens that the oldest modern Olympic venue is in the world is one of the best.
You sound very Midwestern when you're trying to pronounce it.
Well, I probably do.
It's okay. That's what we are.
That's where I am. So the Panathenaic Stadium hosted the first modern Olympics in 1896 and again in 2004. It is the only stadium in the world built entirely out of marble. Today, a small entrance fee is required to roam the grounds of this historical and cultural touchstone of Greece. So you can still visit it. I think that'd be super cool to go see like it hosted the first modern Olympics in 1896.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still around today, and it looks from like
It looks
pictures.
beautiful.
It does. It looks really nice, and it's made out of marble. It'd be super cool to go see, and I bet they can keep using this
Forever.
yeah, basically, yeah. Yep, as long as they take care of it, yeah. Do we want to go into some that did not get taken care of, or do you want to go?
Yes. Okay. No. Bring us the horror.
Here's the horror. Okay, so I've seen a few different articles. I'll go through a few of them. This is from sportsmanagementdegrees.com about some of the most anguishing images of abandoned Olympic venues. There's a lot of ski jumps in this.
Oh, I know one. I think I know
You know
one.
one?
I
You
think I
do?
know one.
Okay. So one of them, this one's an older one. This is from Berlin, Germany in 1936. It says one of history's most infamous Olympics was in Berlin in 1936. Hitler hoped to use the games to further his eccentric agenda. His agenda. He also wanted to impress the rest of the world with Germany's unmatched skill and organization. The Olympic Village from 1936 Berlin Olympics is one of many Olympic ghost towns, which I wonder why. There are few structures from the Third Reich Germany remaining. It was used as a military academy for German soldiers. It then spent 50 years as a Soviet communist interrogation center.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this one needs to probably be torn down. Uh, During the Berlin 1936 Games, the Olympic Village housed more than 4,000 athletes in buildings which have long been emptied out and boarded up. The doors and windows are all gone, and much of the surrounding area of the Olympic Village is overgrown with weeds. This includes the dining hall, gymnasium, and practice facilities. But I
So
mean,
it was, oh man. Not only did it host Nazis, it hosted communist interrogation rooms. Like,
yeah, for 50 years. Yep. I bet you there's probably hundreds of ghosts in this thing.
oh, I would not want to spend the, like, though I would not want to set foot in there. It just probably just feels heavy
Oh, I'm sure
and
it
just
does.
dark. Nope, nope, no thanks.
Halloween episode? Let's go visit it?
Nope, I'm not going there. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Okay, fair enough.
Evil place.
Yes.
So there's 36 Olympics in Berlin. That's like there's a video of Hitler like tweaking out on meth, like
Is there
watching the
really?
Olymp. Oh yeah, if you haven't seen it, yeah,
Mm-mm.
look it up. It's so just look. It's weird thing to Google, but yeah, Hitler Olympics 1936 on meth. Yeah, he's
Well,
just like sitting there, like bouncing his legs like up and down, like he is so jittery, like yeah,
but didn't they like give that to like all their soldiers to give them like an amp up at that point too?
yeah. But like he was a meth head, like he was like addicted to it. He was a meth head.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
No.
Okay, so the next one talks about a couple different ski jump towers. I'm gonna try to pronounce them.
Can I guess one? Can I guess
Yes,
one?
go ahead.
Sarajevo, 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 Sarajevo.
We should leave all those pronunciations in there. No, so these two that at least this article talks about is Cortana di Ampezzo from 1956. Apologize for pronunciation. And Grenoble in 1968.
Well, dang.
Did you want to talk about yours?
No, I just
Oh.
remember that. I don't even know why. I
Okay,
think
it
I
is
saw
down
it
the
on like
list.
Pinterest or like Reddit, maybe.
It is down the list. Sarajevo in 1984.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one is
yeah.
on the list.
That was
So
in Yugoslavia, I think, if I remember right.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we're gonna do a couple. So there's two things from Sarajevo, 1984. So there's a bobsled course and the ski jump. So we'll go to the bobsled first, and then we'll go back to the ski jump. So Sarajevo, capital of what was then Yugoslavia, hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics. Less than a decade after the Winter Games ended, the Bosnian War broke out, and the city of Sarajevo came under siege. Yugoslavia would not exist by the end of the war. Neither would many of the grand venues from the 1984 Winter Olympics. The fate of the bobsled track on Mount Trebek is especially anguishing. It was once used for the most exciting winter sports, and today it is completely overgrown and covered in graffiti,
Yeah.
which is really sad.
Yeah. It
So
is.
apparently, like, it's not used for bobsledding anymore, but there are some BMX bike riders that use it to practice stunts. So I mean, they kind of do still use it, just not for its purpose.
Not for its purpose.
No.
Sad. Is it
So-
it's Bosnia now, right? Yugoslavia is Bosnia now, I think.
I believe so.
It's
I
hard.
have to Google.
I think.
I think
Don't
so.
quote me on it, but I think so.
Yeah, so the ski jump is also like the bobsled track. It looks pretty bad. It's pretty overgrown. Its stadium-style seating area looks like as if it could date back to Roman times. Oddly,
Oh my gosh.
oddly, the metal podium at the foot of the mountain is still standing. And during the siege of Sarajevo, the field became a battleground of sorts, and the former metal podium was even used for executions.
That's kind of
Messed up.
messed up, but
It's
also
pretty
kind of
messed up.
cool. Not
Yeah.
cool like it's cool, but
It's like, I don't know. It to me, it's even more upsetting because it's something that like they referred to as like a crown of their
yes,
city.
that's why it's yeah.
It's even more upsetting because you're like, I was killed at this place, which was so cool and so important for
Mhm.
my country, and
Mhm.
now it's
Mhm.
like
Now they're yeah, instead of
devastation
yeah.
and murder
Yeah,
everywhere.
instead of getting a medal, proud, representing your country, proudest moment of your life, right? And they play the anthem with the flag
Mhm.
raising. They're beheading people's heads on that podium.
It's so upsetting.
It's like it's out of like a movie.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it sounds like a really messed up
That's
movie.
like yeah, that's like Planet of the Apes like type apocalyptic messed
Mhm.
up thing.
Yeah. Never seen that movie, but I've heard things.
Mr. Kendra's like really into it right now. I don't know
Is it
why.
really? Okay. Is it
Yeah.
'cause, like, there's another one coming out? Is that why?
No, it's
Oh,
because he's been playing the game. What was it called? Plague or something?
okay.
I don't remember. It's a phone app game
Oh,
where
okay.
you create a plague and there's different kinds of viruses and
Oh,
he's
I've heard of
on
that.
and
Yeah.
he's so proud of himself. He's beaten all the other one, like everything, all the levels, and now he's on something that's called Planet of the Apes virus. Don't know,
Oh, Mr.
right?
Kendra, why?
And now he wants to watch the movies. He's really interested in watching the movies. Don't know why.
He has a very interesting mind.
Yeah, he does.
Go from, like, old bottle collecting and hunting to, "I'm gonna create a pandemic."
Is that what the game's called?
Maybe. I don't know. I can
I don't
Google.
remember. Nah, we don't need to Google. Keep it mysterious.
Okay.
Keep it
Okay, I
mysterious.
think I've heard of it, though, yeah. I've heard of ones too, like, where you, like, project planets and, like, asteroids and hit,
That sounds more
like,
fun to me.
yeah,
The
it's, like,
plague's
destroying
just yeah,
planets,
the
whatever, yeah.
plague yeah, that's more fun. The plague one just kinda makes me think of COVID, and it makes me,
Yep,
don't like it, but
yep,
that's just my opinion.
mhm,
Anyway, Sarajevo, yep, turned
yep.
sad.
Devastation, yes.
Devastation.
Very
Instead of the Olympics, it's, you know, the
horrifying.
complete opposite, devastation, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So now we're gonna go back to the other ski jumps, that we mentioned before, so Cortina d'Ampezzo, I believe?
Where
Um,
is this?
Switzerland.
Oh,
So,
okay.
this is from the 1956 Winter Olympic Games. It's at the site where Switzerland's Andreas Dascher introduced his Dasher technique, a new style of jumping. Today, the style still stands amongst the region's beautiful pine tree dotted mountainside. So, like, it looks like they still like mow the grass and stuff,
Oh, no.
but the actual buildings themselves, like the jump, I would not stand on. It's just, it looks like it's made out of wood, which is fine, but it's like something you walk around, not that you go into or
Okay.
stand on top of anymore. So it's like, it's not that bad compared to some of these other ones, but it's still like,
It's still like,
don't go to it.
don't go
Don't stand on it.
it's just a place where the teenagers drink.
Yep, basically.
Yep.
Yep. But Switzerland's jump is still in far better shape than that of Grenoble. During the hosting of the Winter Games in 1968, the French city abandoned its ski jumps to the elements. Today, the top of the jump yields stunning views of the surrounding city, along with the overgrown landing site, crumbling concrete support beams, and a ton of graffiti. So they just
It's
let it
just
crumble.
these Olympic places just end up becoming places where teenagers go to drink.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just huge concrete structures and wooden structures that just, they cost millions and billions to make, and they just let them fall apart. That's one thing I've never really understood about like when they build all these things because they look super cool and they're meant to, but then like
Yeah.
nobody keeps them up. Well, some people do, some countries do, but it's
Is
really, really hard.
is this what like the ancient Greeks and Romans thought of like temples and stuff that became run down?
Maybe.
Because now we like, we go visit them because they're very cool and beautiful, ornate, different pieces, right?
Mhm,
Sculptures and friezes and columns, and we're like,
mhm.
wow, it's very beautiful. But did they just kind of see it how we see these abandoned Olympic villages or stadiums?
It's hard to say. To me, I guess, like, when I think of, like, like, their temples and stuff, those are places of worship more so
Hmm.
and, like,
Oh,
ceremonies.
right. Good
So,
point.
they would be going to these things regularly,
Good point.
and, like, even, like, churches today, like, people, like, mow the lawns and keep up things. So, like, this is used the Olympic stadiums are used, like, once for their
Yeah.
purpose, and then if they don't get transformed into something else or, like, into training facilities, then it's just kinda like, what do you do with it?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think it'd be cool, I don't know, even just, like, keeping them as training facilities or just have
Maybe they think they're gonna do that, but then
it
it's
could be.
just too much money and too much space to
It
help,
could
like
be.
house all these, keep all these people.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just like the can't the cost the upkeep.
That's probably part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one we're gonna talk about is from Los Angeles, California, the good old
Oh,
US of A.
oh, Katrina, they're hosting again in 2028.
Are they I do remember
Yeah.
that.
Okay, I'll just go off on a
Okay.
teeny tiny little rant.
Yeah.
Los Angeles has to be one of the worst cities in America to host. Los Angeles is like objectively ugly.
Yeah, it
It's
just kinda
just
got built up weird.
sprawl.
Yeah.
It's all, and that's all. Like, I know there are very beautiful buildings in there. I know very beautiful buildings.
Mhm.
Whatever. There's some Franklin Wright. There's some old cool Art Deco hotels.
Mhm.
Very neat. But like, it's just sprawl. Like, if you look at it, it's just ugly sprawl.
Yeah, it's not like I don't know, it's not to me, like, some place like Chicago would be super cool because it's, like, old
Mm-hmm.
downtown and there's, like, a
Yep.
lot of I don't know. It's weird too because like, I've never been to California, so it's hard for me to really say for sure, but it just from what I've heard from people that go to, like, Los Angeles, like, people there aren't very friendly, they're very much, like, into themselves, and, like, I don't know, yeah, the architecture and stuff is just not I don't know.
Like,
It
what's the icon? Like the icon in Paris is the Eiffel Tower.
yeah,
What is the icon in Los Angeles? Is it the Hollywood sign?
yeah,
And
the
that's
falling
like,
apart.
and if it's falling apart, it's hideous. It's like some, corrugated tin or something. Yeah, it's falling apart.
Mhm,
So yeah, I'm just like,
I don't know.
what's it good? I know they've hosted a bunch of times before. I know that, but
Yeah. It's not on
like,
my bucket list to visit, honestly.
eh,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't get
But
it.
we're so in Los Angeles, there is the Jesse Robinson Olympic Park. It was constructed in the city of Compton, near Los Angeles, for the 1984 Summer Olympics. The Olympic rings supporting the year 1984 can be seen there. Though the Olympic Park and the iconic Olympic rings still stand, the park itself has become an overgrown mess that has mostly fallen into disrepair. Which
Maybe
is
they'll reuse it for this next one.
See, I think they should. I think they should, like, either tear down the stuff they can't fix or remake like, repurpose, like, the rings that are still standing somewhat, like, make kind of, like, a memorial towards it. Because it's upsetting when stuff like this, they put so much thought and effort into it and just dead.
Just
Especially
nothing.
when you're
Yeah.
hosting again, it's like I
Yeah,
don't
they're
know.
host this is the
It's
third
like
time they're hosting, right?
I'm not sure, yeah, it's just like, if you're gonna host it again, fix it up a little bit, spruce it up.
Mhm.
I
Spruce
don't
it
know.
up. Put some paint on that.
Slap some paint on it.
Slap some
Slap
paint on
some
it.
lipstick on a pig. The next one we have is from Atlanta, Georgia, the good old US of A. So Atlanta in 1996, these are the tennis courts. Um, so basically, they're located in Stone Mountain, and the tennis courts were meant to be the cornerstone of a new Stone Mountain Tennis Center. Unfortunately, the center was never able to make it financially, and now sits in ruins. So yeah, so it was supposed to be like turned into something really cool, and they just couldn't pay for it. So,
Okay, I will say
hmm.
Atlanta below Los Angeles on my lists.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I agree.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah.
So
Right?
they,
True.
they're yeah. What do you have? Wait, what do they have? The Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the Atlanta Falcons does look really, really cool.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
okay,
There's
so
a
there, like Los Angeles is above
yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one I have, so it's not like a stadium or anything, but it's the mascots from the Beijing 2008 games.
I've seen these. I've seen these. It's creepy. They're just in the middle of a forest, right?
Yeah, so Nini and Ying Ying were the faces of the Summer Olympic Games in Beijing in 2008.
Uh-huh.
Today, the fallen mascot statues are left to decay and rot in a field behind the abandoned construction site of what was supposed to be a mall.
Not Nini and Ying Yang.
They just left them there.
No, not Nini and Ying Yang.
They just left them. Which is so upsetting.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
man.
they're just like the Easter Island heads, but just,
Yes! In like 150 years, people are not going to know what the heck they are. There's just going to be giant metal creatures sitting in the middle of an empty field.
I will remember Nini and Ying Yang. I'll remember them.
Okay. Put it on your gravestone.
We should do like an episode of the Olympic mascots, like the weirdest ones or like the
Did you
coolest
see the one
ones.
for Paris?
No, all I've seen was their weird. I don't know if I like the logo or if I hate it. I don't know. It's the woman silhouette with like the hair, like the bob cut.
Bobcat. Let me look that up. Hold on. Oh, I thought it was a flame.
It is. It is a
It's a
flame.
person.
It's 2 in 1.
Oh,
It's 2 in 1. But do you see the woman with the lips with the bob
I
cut?
do.
Yeah.
Okay. I never looked that closely at it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's 2 in 1. But I don't know if I hate it or I like it. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't know.
I bet it's better than others. I just I don't know. I'm very opinionated. It's not fun.
Yeah, so the Paris mascot this year is I have to look at the pronunciation, but basically it's their hat. It's like a red hat.
What? It's just a beret?
Birgay or something like that. I have to look it up.
Did you say beer gay? What'd you say?
Birgay?
Beer gay?
Birgay. Phryges. It's like their little hat with a face.
What in the world? It's like a bird. Is it a bird? Mascot. I gotta look this up.
It's
What? Oh, it's a bicorn? It's a bicorn hat?
it's a small Furigan hat.
I don't like it. What kind of hat is this, Katrina? I'm so confused.
A figurine hat. It's a symbol of freedom.
What kind of... I see the little ribbons. I know the little ribbons are from French Revolution. But what in the world? Oh my gosh. Okay. The Olympic Phryge. How do you say that? Fear. No one knows. We're not French. We don't know. Based on the traditional small that word hats that the mascots are shaped after, the name and design were chosen as symbols of freedom and to represent allegorical figures of the French Republic. Okay.
I mean, the face makes it cuter, but like
you could put it.
My favorite mascot.
I don't know. I mean, like
it could have been the Eiffel Tower.
It should have been the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that you can just put little googly, like cartoon googly eyes on anything and like make it cute. You know, like I don't like that. That reasoning.
That's fair.
Because you can do it with poop.
Yeah, that's an emoji.
Yeah, I know the poop emoji. It's just like cute little cartoon eyes, and it becomes cute, right?
Yeah.
I don't like this. All I can imagine is like this mascot just being abandoned in a field, like, and it's a horror movie. It's a nightmare.
All right, so now we're gonna get into some, so like some repurposed Olympic um, villages and things. So one of them,
Yay.
which is still pretty cool and looks cool from photos, is the Utah Olympic Park from the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah. So this 400-acre park in Park City, Utah, was built to host 5 events during the Salt Lake City Games: the bobsled, skeleton, luge, and the Nordic combined events. Today, the venue is still hopping with activity. Visitors can take a run on the Comet bobsled ride, tube the Nordic jump, swing from ropes in the Discovery Zone, and watch different events throughout the year. So this one's still like extremely used, which is really cool.
That's good.
Yeah, I really like that. The next one is from the Sydney Olympic Park from the 2000s Summer Olympic Games.
Oh, wow.
So located on the west side of Sydney, Australia, in the formerly rundown industrial park, the 1,580-acre Sydney Olympic Park continues to be a hotspot for sporting, musical, and cultural events. Combined with business conferences, the park attracts more than 12 million annual visitors, including about 800,000 people annually for the Sydney Royal Easter Show. So
In Sydney?
Sydney, Australia.
Nice.
Yeah. The next one is in Vancouver, Canada. All of Vancouver's venues from the 2010 Winter Olympics remain in use, which is pretty rare. In large part thanks to a $110 million trust that ensures that the facilities won't fall into disrepair.
Wow.
Yeah. The speed skating oval has seen about 500,000 visitors each year, hosting hockey games, speed skating, basketball, and squash courts, and an indoor track.
Good for Vancouver. Good for Canada.
Yeah, like they actually put these things to use and mean to. So like I feel like that's what it should be. Like you should be building things that are going to be lasting generations,
Right.
and then just keep them up. Like make it a purpose to reuse these buildings.
Right.
Yep.
Do you think that this trust that they're taking money out of, do you think that was included into, like, taken into account when they were developing this?
I would have to imagine so, because that's a lot of money just to like shell out and be like, oh, we're gonna keep it up anyways.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it almost have to be like put in your plan to be like, okay, we're gonna make this and this and this, but how do we make it so it's like still viable to use for us for like another century?
Mhm.
I feel like you have to kind of think about that when you're building it, but I don't know. All right, so the last one we're going to talk about today, that a place you can still visit, is a beachfront created for the 1992 Summer Olympic Games in Barcelona. So Barcelona is now considered a top tourist destination, known for amazing food, sun, and art from masters like architect Antoni Gaudi. So built in 1992, the city was viewed as a grimy industrial stopover on the way to Spain's more popular destinations.
Madrid.
Yep. It's true. It's true. The 1992 Games transformed Barcelona, building a modern marina and creating 2 miles of beachfront. Now, a subway stops less than a quarter mile from the beaches where the Olympic volleyball players competed, and the city has a thriving beachfront culture, which is super cool, and that's what they're meant to do, is like make these places a
Up 'em.
destination.
Elevate them.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's kind of like part of it has to be almost part of your plan when you're building these things.
You would hope so.
You'd think so.
Yeah, but then, it might people might end up getting beheaded on your Olympic medal podium, which you don't want.
See, that was not foreseen, but yeah, I know.
That
was not part of the business plan.
was not part of the business plan.
No.
That was not part of the pitch.
That was not part of like the millions of dollars that were meant or put into building the ski jump.
No.
All right, Wanderers.
Sorry.
I think that's a happy note to stop on. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this Olympic special of the Foolish Wanderers podcast. If you have any suggestions or any feedback, please feel free to email us at fwplisteners@gmail.com. And we do have also a fun little feature that Buzzsprout, our
RRS feed?
Yeah, our RS feed site has introduced. You can text us and send us little chats via the internet. There's a little link in the description below that says text us, and you can just send us that way. It's super easy and it's fun. I tested it and it works and it's fun.
That's pretty cool.
You make it sound like I'm being lame.
I'm not.
Okay.
Text us nice things.
Yes. That'd be nice. Just say hi. We'll
Just say
respond.
hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
and as always, new episodes of the FWP are released to wherever you get your podcasts from, including this place that you are listening to right now.
Hey. Ray is nuzzling the microphone.
She's
She's
saying
saying,
thank you. She's saying
yeah.
thank you to all of our listeners who have taken time out of their day to listen to us.
Yeah, thank you so much for including us as a part of your day. Yeah. All right, Wanderers, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.